Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we're talking about Season 4, Episode 10, titled Songs to Love and Die By, air date December 6th, 2006. And the synopsis is...
Lucas receives an unlikely visitor, his supposedly dead Uncle Keith. Haley's life and the life of her unborn child are threatened when she experiences serious complications with her pregnancy, and Nathan wrestles with the guilt and consequences of his dealings with Daunte.
So this was weird because it plays the last 4 minutes of the show from the episode before. Of the crash, Dan turning himself in, Lucas passing out, all of it. Until, it's just him left there. So it was literally like 4 minutes of it. And I'm like, okay, like that was the time wasted. I feel like we could have just started there. I don't think we had to see the whole 4 minutes of it.
Right.
I feel like it just could have been him on the ground, them doing CPR like that point. And then him waking up to nobody. I feel like that would have been better instead of 4 minutes of literally just the same scenes we just saw. So I kind of feel like that was just kind of like a waste of time.
Right.
Don't you?
Yeah, maybe they just needed to fill that time because it was kind of short, it seems.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, once you cut out that 4 minutes, there was only 37 minutes left. So that's why I feel like it kind of was a wasted episode, kind of. And it was such a weird episode. Like, this is an episode I like to skip over. Like, I wouldn't rewatch it. Would you rewatch it? Just to rewatch it?
Yeah, I like seeing alternate universes and all that. So,
but this one was weird.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't like go about it smoothly. So,
yeah, like, don't you think you could have, I don't know, tweaked it a little? Like, I will say, like, when they did the different one of like Nathan's life, it was, I think, more entertaining. But this one was just, I don't like when the ghosts follow and stuff, you know that. So Lucas and Keith just walking around everywhere was like, no.
Right. Yeah, because here we first really see at least new footage of Lucas waking up on the street, and it's completely empty, nobody's around. But then, like, from a distance, he sees one guy and like follows him, trying to see what's going on. But of course, that guy ends up being Keith. And then they walk into the hospital because, Lucas doesn't remember what happens after that because he was unconscious. And but first they see Haley wheeled into the hospital, and Lucas kind of forgot what happened. So he had to like go through that process of remembering too. That took up some time. So, and then Lucas
then he sees himself.
Yeah. Which had to be even more bizarre, seeing yourself like that.
I know, that's what's weird is, could you imagine like having that like out of body experience and like seeing yourself?
Right, yeah.
It's just so weird. And then like especially like too as an actor, it's like weird.
Yeah, well, obviously he was probably looking at a double or maybe never, not even anything, but yeah.
But himself. But it's just kind of weird.
Right. And then we go see Brooke again, tell Peyton about Lucas and Haley. And then we see that basically Lucas and Keith were in the room with them when they walked out.
Weird.
Yeah, so I guess Lucas, met Keith that quickly, I guess. But yeah, Lucas feels bad because all these things keep happening to Peyton, one after the other. And then Keith reminds him that good things happen to her too, like him, which is true. And then, Lucas is like, to Keith, like, what are you, an angel? Is this a bad dream? And Keith says he's his guide. And Lucas says to where? And, Keith says just, he had a heart attack and he's not breathing right now. So Lucas asks if he's dead, and Keith answers not yet, but he is. And they Lucas asks about Haley, and Keith says Haley's not doing well either. Then we do the transition with the nurse and the doctor walking past them in Peyton's room to the doctor walking up to Nathan in the hospital.
Peyton's room?
Yeah, like they were still in Peyton's room. It was like a weird transition from that to the hospital.
Yeah. That was weird.
I don't know why they did that.
Because it was kind of like they would just like open up a door, and it's like
the door makes more sense to me than like different scenes colliding like that.
I don't think any of them do. It's like all of a sudden just like moves. Oh, here we are.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know how ghost travels, so you never know. And then, the doctor says that she's going to have surgery because she has,
Isn't this the same doctor that did her checkup for her pregnancy?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't think so.
Just the last episode. It looked like the same guy that took her when she had those pains.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We would have to look at the credits for that. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize him.
It just looked like him, but it could be wrong.
Yeah. And then, Nathan asks about the baby. So the doctor says they're going to do everything they can, but his priority right now is saving her life. And then Lucas asks Keith if Haley's going to be okay. And, is she going to lose the baby? And Keith says that part hasn't been written yet. And, Lucas is mad that all these decent people, and just bad things keep happening to them. And he tells Keith that he was a good guy. And Keith says, so. And Lucas says, so he got shot for it. And Payne lost both her mothers. She gets shot and attacked.
Now Haley's in surgery. Yeah. So then, of course, like Keith's like, what's your point and stuff. And, because they're talking like what the meaning is and everything. Like you can be a good person and still things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which, everybody has something bad happen.
Mm-hmm.
No one's life is picture perfect, no matter how much they want to portray.
Mm-hmm.
No one's life is.
Yeah, no matter how good you do,
right?
Doesn't matter.
That doesn't really change it.
Yeah.
You could try, but you would just be lying,
right? And then Keith takes Lucas to the now alternate school. And Lucas recognizes Brooke, and he asks Keith what happened to her, and Keith tells him to go ask her. So this part makes sense to me.
She yells at him.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this doesn't make sense to me how he can just walk over and talk to her like that, because he's supposed to be dead. So I thought he'd be kind of dead like in every universe he would go to, anyways.
Yeah, because it wasn't like he was talking to Peyton when it was Peyton and Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like he was like, no, like trying to calm her down when she's like, or he wasn't talking to Nathan. I know it was weird that really the only one he actually talked to was Brooke, and it was this scene. Mm-hmm. All the other ones he was
watching.
Just watching or talking to Keith. It wasn't like he was talking to the person.
Yeah, the people can't see him, but this Brooke could for some reason, so that's why it's just weird.
Yeah. That is weird. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So, Keith says that this is the world that would have been if he led a different life. And Lucas asks, what about his universe? And he says that it's still there. And then, of course, we see Daunte is in prison. Dan is in prison for
Dante's
death. Yeah.
But he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, my name's mixed up. But then Nathan is still in the waiting room of the hospital. And then we see Brooke and Peyton get there. And, Brooke asks how Haley is doing. And he says she's in surgery. And Peyton asks about Lucas. And he says he doesn't know.
But Nathan says it was all his fault. They're saying no, it wasn't. Yeah. And you gotta feel for Nathan because obviously it was his fault. Because he's the one that went and, did everything with Daunte, all the deals. Right. And Daunte said something bad will happen if you lose, or if you win, something bad will happen, and it did. So it's like, of course, he has so much guilt if Haley dies, if the baby dies. And then, so you gotta feel bad for them, but like for them, like when they're like, it wasn't your fault. It's like, but it was.
Yeah, and they don't know everything either.
Because it wasn't just anyone that hit her.
Right.
It was Daunte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but apparently he still has the guilt from the bridge, saying he wished that if he just died then this wouldn't have happened,
So
you know?
Lucas doesn't know that it's Daunte, right?
Right.
That hit her.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was dealing with Haley and then passed out while Nathan was beating him up.
Right.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah. And then, like, we didn't see Nathan ever go back to that area where they were, so he never even saw Lucas pass out even afterwards. So I wonder when he came back to the scene, after Dan
Right.
told him to go.
Probably that's when then they're both lying there.
Mm-hmm. And then, the whole theme of the episode is It's a Wonderful Life. He, Lucas is, I don't even know his name. Do you know his name? Wonderful Life?
No.
George, I think. I think it might be George. Anybody can correct me. I haven't seen it in a minute, but do you know the story of the movie?
Nope, never saw it.
Okay, well, I thought we watched it in school maybe for Christmas.
Probably fell asleep.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, it's just about a man who, kind of like Nathan, is regretting like living and basically wishes, like thinks that his family would be better off without him, and then he meets an angel who shows him these different worlds where it would be if he never existed, and then he regrets everything, and then wishes he was alive again, kind of like that life lesson. So that's why they had Lucas do the same thing here.
I thought it was playing in Haley's room.
Yeah, it is, but it was playing at the beginning, but I think that was also Haley's room, or maybe it was just everybody's room because it's on the same TV in the hospital, the channels. But
Yeah, I was like, I
it
didn't
wasn't
think
her
it
room.
was Lucas's. I thought it was Haley's room.
No, I meant to say Haley. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but Lucas is the one that's playing out the movie in
And
his little.
why is the TV playing when she's not awake?
I don't know, maybe because they say that you can still hear when you're unconscious, or I don't know, maybe just it's not quite. I don't know.
So
Could
they're
be many
thinking
reasons.
that the only show or movie that she would want to watch is that one.
I mean, it is a good movie, but I don't know.
I know,
But
but
since it's a
if you can watch one, that's what
mhm.
you're gonna choose.
Right. And then it's Christmas too, so it usually doesn't even air until December. So
But
what month are we in?
this episode it aired December 6th.
Oh, okay.
Because I looked at the next one. The next one airs in January. So
Okay.
this was their winter finale.
Mm-hmm. But was it December in the show?
Hell no. This
Or was it later?
because now that championship is over, it's the end of March.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird that it's playing in the hospital so late. And yeah, so it doesn't make sense. But they just, I guess, did this kind of, at least not air wise, but like show wise, it's kind of late for this movie to be played out like this. But
yeah, but I guess they wanted something Christmassy to air in December, I guess.
Yeah, true, I guess. Yeah.
Well, then you wonder if it was like a network thing where they're like, you never show holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't show holidays.
Right.
Not even Valentine's Day.
Right. And then I'm wondering if
they only show it ahead, like the later seasons. There's like a Valentine's Day episode and stuff, but that's real. I mean, we've gotten Halloween sort of like them dressing up. But that's like the closest, ones. But it's like in the later seasons we get like Thanksgiving and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. But it's weird because we don't get them in the early seasons,
right?
Like on other shows.
Mm-hmm.
Other shows every Thanksgiving. Oh, we have a Thanksgiving episode, which is nice because it is your reality,
right?
Like, well, it's a lot of people's reality of having some sort of holiday. So to do a show and never see a holiday, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Unless you got like some crime show or something that doesn't really pertain to their whole life. But because One Tree Hill does, it is kind of weird they've never had one yet. And even the like masquerade party and like all of that, they never called it's Halloween. So even then, like all their parties that they've had, They've
Mhm.
never called it Halloween.
Right.
So that's what's also weird is you could call them Halloween episodes, but they never said it was Halloween.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna see if they were this show and the movie was made by the same, company, but it's not.
Mm.
Yeah. Nathan's having flashbacks to the bridge incident, and then he hears the whispers from Keith, just telling him that it's gonna be okay. And then he, yells to Keith, why did he save him? If he would have died, then there's no Daunte and there's no accident, and Healy and the baby are fine.
Yeah, and then it was funny because he's like, "You can save me, but you can't answer me."
Right.
I'm like, he's supposed to be dead though.
Yeah.
He can't talk to you.
Right. I mean, you could ask for a sign, but not like actual speaking to him.
Right. And it's like the only reason why Lucas can is because Lucas is dying,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, the
That's how they're
in-between.
stating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he also walks past Keith and Lucas's ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So Lucas says, so, you did save him to Keith. And he says, no, that was Nathan. Most people are stronger than they know. And then Lucas says, now he says this is his fault. He wanted a state championship. He could have let Nathan lose the game. And he should have been more supportive of him and Healy. And, he says for them to look at the world again where he's a lesser guy. So they go to the music store where Nathan is in the alternate universe.
But see, again, even like we've said, I mean, like what Lucas, and I wish Keith like would have said this of like, Lucas, like seriously, like even if you would have lost that night, Daunte was never going to go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. I guess it's like a kind of situation where Lucas is supposed to come to that conclusion himself.
But also, I thought he doesn't know that Daunte did this.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
So
what
he
is he
can't.
talking about?
Yeah.
Because when Lucas says, "I wish I would have I would have, lost that game," it's like, what are you talking about? You aren't supposed to know that Daunte did this.
Right. I guess it just means because he just heard what Nathan said just now. So that's how. But the question is, would he remember this when he woke up afterward? So
Probably. They're probably going to make it that way.
Yeah.
To shorten up the storytelling of Daunte.
Mm-hmm. So then, we see Nathan walk into the music store for, to see the new Haley James album. Mm-hmm.
And then he takes it and smashes it.
Mm-hmm. And apparently it was a promo copy. I didn't think they made those back then. I guess they did.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, honestly, that old Nathan that was hurting would have done that.
Yeah.
That's why whenever he says, "Oh, I'm so supportive," I'm like, but you weren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I first watched this, I thought he was going to get kicked out for breaking it, but I guess since he gave him the money, I guess it didn't matter.
Yeah, well, he paid for it, says no.
Yeah, because I feel like in real life you could get in some trouble, like you wouldn't be allowed in the store anymore. But yeah.
No, but I feel like if you pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
it's yours. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
Well, they always say in stores, if you break it, you buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he broke it. He had to buy it, and he did.
Yeah, that's usually when it's
without anybody saying you got to buy it.
Yeah, that usually is made up for people who accidentally break stuff, but he obviously very easily purposely broke this one. But yeah.
Yeah. But I thought it was funny.
Yeah, plays the same way. Yeah, so Keith tells Lucas, Haley never came back home to Nathan because he never went to New York to, talk to her.
This is what I thought was weird was when he said that. I'm like, she didn't come back because Lucas went to New York. She actually told Lucas that night, "I'm not coming back ever."
Yeah, and gave him the supposed annulment too.
Right, and gave him her essay for the school. It's like she wasn't coming back because all because Lucas. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like the only person that actually made her come back was Deb. I don't believe that she came back because of Lucas. Because how many times did Lucas say, "Nathan's hurting, Nathan's hurting, what about Nathan?" And she didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So why would she come back? So I don't agree with he went to New York and she came back. No, that's not how that played.
Mm-hmm.
Not in my eyes. Did it play like that in yours?
No.
I'm like, okay, so we're rewriting a little bit of history here.
Mm-hmm. Now you also mentioned about Lucas going to the beach party and talking to Nathan and saying that mattered. I mean, I think that did matter a bit, but
I don't think so. I think a little. I think it was for that beach party, maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, he was still annoying Nathan, if anything, but still.
I know Nathan was just like, get away from me.
Yeah. Yep. And then when they walk out of the store, they pass a poster of Haley and Chris together, of course.
Yes, and then it fades to just Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was weird because in real life, nobody would make a poster like that with a big gap on the side like that with nothing there, you know? And
Yeah,
have the soloist on one side like that.
Yeah, like Chris would just be center of the poster or something.
Yeah, I think they could have just like transitioned to him being the center of it would have been, you know, would have made more sense. But I just, you know, they obviously just want to show that Haley was never there to begin with. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then Payne's in the store now. It's real life, real universe. And you know, she's looking for music, trying to make herself feel better because she can't do anything about Lucas or Haley.
So I will say, like, Peyton and Brooke are two different people because when Lucas was in the hospital in season 1, Brooke was at the hospital nonstop, worried about Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton, not so much.
Right.
He didn't go and check on Karen once. You know?
We didn't see Karen at the hospital yet, though,
Well,
either.
we saw her in the hospital at the what you might call it, where they pray.
Wasn't that after later on still?
Well, no, he was still out. Lucas was still out, and Keith and Lucas went to go sit.
Oh yeah.
But that was it. That was
that
was the only scene we had of Karen. But I just thought it was weird because I'm like, when it was Brooke, like it took me back because I'm like, when I was Brooke was there nonstop. What can I do for you, Karen? Do you need food? But like Peyton's like, like Peyton ends up going to her own house. It's like she's not even at the hospital.
Yeah, Brooke even made that like banner or poster or something for Lucas too to put on the wall in his room of the hospital.
That's why I'm like, these like Brooke and Peyton, two very different people in a emergency.
Yeah, which is funny because Payne's the more, you know, artsy, creative one. So but Brooke did that for him. Yeah, so you know, she ends up getting a record because it's recommended. And yeah, she has to go to her house to play it. I'm kind of surprised. It seems like she would have every record made because of Ellie's collection, but yeah, I guess she didn't have that one apparently.
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like when she was in the record store that she didn't know that one.
Right.
That's what it seemed like to me. It was like, oh, cool, you have this one. It wasn't anything like that. It was like, oh, like kind of like, what's this one? And it's like, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how I took it. I could be wrong, but this is how I took it.
Yeah. And then she gets some advice. And hopefully, you know, I think that does help, but yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like when you're in that situation, like somebody's dying, there's not much you can do besides think of the worst. I mean, what are you going to keep saying? Every single person's going to live. No.
Right. Yeah, so she listens to it at home, and then Haley's in her room in the hospital now with Nathan by her side. Dan's still in prison. Karen's in the chapel. So that's when Lucas and Keith are at the hospital again, and Lucas walks past his room and looks at himself before following Keith into the chapel with Karen.
So
and they
weird.
sit behind her. This part?
No,
it's weirder
when
he sees himself again.
When he sees himself.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
That'd be weird to like see yourself. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then Keith sits behind Karen, you know, and tells Lucas seeing his mom still takes his breath away. And Lucas says even though technically he doesn't have any breath, which is funny.
So I thought this was funny that like this scene with Karen between Keith and Lucas, they were like a little comedy duo going back and forth. And it honestly just made me laugh. I know it wasn't supposed to be like a funny episode,
Mm-hmm.
This scene was funny because they're just stupid. Like, don't call me stupid. And I'm just like, what am I watching? It made me laugh, but I think it was good because I didn't like the episode. That I was like, okay, at least I can laugh about something.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's kind of like it took me back to season 1. Remember when Keith and Lucas would have their little tit for tat crap, and it was always so funny because they would be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like we finally got to see it. It just takes me back to season 1.
Yeah,
and
it shows that they're still like that together. Yeah.
That on camera, here we are. What we could have had. Honestly, what we're missing too.
And then Lucas, asks Keith what happens if he doesn't wake up, and Keith says he doesn't know. He has to tell him. And Lucas tells him for a spirit he sucks at this, and Keith, asks Lucas what does he want him to say, and he says he doesn't, wants to know if there's a heaven. Just basically getting to the deep questions of it all. And if they're going to see each other again, and Keith says that they're seeing each other right now, obviously, of course.
Again,
he knows that. Yeah. And then they go out of the chapel to go back to the school where Keith died. And he goes around the corner. And, Keith or Lucas catches up. But then when he turns that corner, I think this would be worse than seeing your own body, is seeing your uncle and your old friend's bodies on the floor,
Oh, yeah.
That'd be more messed up. But, Lucas, of course, doesn't want to see this. He tells Keith to take it away. And this is when Keith, tries. I feel like they did this kind of late, but, Keith, like, coming back and saying, like, that Dan, or not Dan, he did, but that Keith wasn't killed by Jimmy, getting to the bottom of it. It just seemed kind of late down the line to get to the mystery of it all.
Just a little thing of, like, again, an issue with filming. When the door opens and it goes into the hallway scene, there's a part up top where you can see that it's a stage.
Oh, like there's no ceiling?
Right. Like you can see the black part of it up top.
And I'm like, I didn't see that.
I'm like, again. I mean, again, it could be, again, like you've said, because, everyone's like screens and stuff and how they have to now make the show wider. But it's just like, I saw it.
Right.
It's just funny.
Yeah, I wonder how many directors and camera people and all that are like regretting now they didn't like make the shots, closer or something, so they wouldn't have that all showing at the edge of the screens now.
Well, and I'm sure now because like people always point them out, not just the show, but every show and movie.
Yeah.
From the past, people, especially like on TikTok and stuff, like people are always pointing it out. So you have to think too, as a director or an editor, they have to put all this together. Like you have to think too, like they worked hard to put everything together to make it look good, and then all these years later, people are not being like, look, and it's like, gosh, darn it, like people, I worked hard for this, only for you guys to point out.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, like you said, James pointed one of them out.
Yeah, the cameras. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like even actors are pointing them out. So it's just kind of funny because again, I don't think they went to work on. It'll do. Like I do think they went to work on every show and movie. Trying to make everything the best.
Right.
But it's just funny.
Right.
So I don't blame them for it because it was 20 years ago, but it's just funny.
Yeah, I remember on the Gilmore Girls podcast, I'm All In with Scott. I think he pointed out like somebody was in the frame, like a not director, like stage crew or something. Like I don't know if they were holding a mic over the girls or what, but like he just noticed a whole person in the shot, which is funny after all these years.
Really?
That you never knew was there. Yeah.
Well, he didn't watch the show, did he?
Well, he's watching it for the podcast, and so now he's noticing things himself.
But I'm saying like he never watched it when it aired.
No, I don't think so.
So he wouldn't know unless he watched it.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure when he started the podcast, it was like all brand new to him. So
I will say the only thing that I will blame crew member, like the crew for, is when it's something to do with like, oh, I don't know, what is it? What was it? Game of Thrones? Remember when it went
yeah, the water
viral?
bottle.
No, it wasn't a Starbucks cup.
Oh, I know it was something like that.
It was
Water
a
bottle.
Starbucks
Yeah.
cup because Starbucks was not there and whenever this aired. And it
Yeah.
was like, okay, again, especially when you're doing a timepiece,
Yeah.
you cannot have Starbucks cup sitting right there in the
Yeah.
shot. So it's like, again, whoever's job that is to like look and make sure everything that's supposed to be in the scene is in the scene and not and nothing else, they're to blame. But also, again, if they don't do their job, it's also the director's fault. It lands on the editing. All these people were like, they might have saw it and said, eh.
Yeah, I'm surprised like whoever put the scenes together, like editing, didn't like notice it because they're looking at everything for probably hours for just one
Yeah,
episode.
but you have to think too, like, if they have no other shot besides the Starbucks one, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, we think with Game of Thrones, they have the CGI dragon, so they couldn't just CGI the cup out, but yeah.
But again, I thought the directors sometimes go like they work with the editors.
Yeah, maybe.
So like think if you were the editor and you saw that, you'd be like to the director, hey, there's a Starbucks cup in here. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do with this?
Right.
Because it's here and people are going to see it and they're not going to like it.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
again, people are not stupid. They point that stuff out. And once one person sees it, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by something that doesn't make sense as like a timepiece. But other stuff I can let go, but not that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, so, Lucas says he can't believe that Jimmy killed him, and Keith says, why does he?
I will
And
say
Lucas,
that wasn't Jimmy in the hallway.
oh, I didn't notice, but I figured it wouldn't be, yeah. Just
No,
us.
I think it was, I don't know. I didn't really look at Keith's body to know if it was really Craig or not.
Yeah.
Or if it was just a stand-in.
Right.
But when I saw Jimmy's like hair and stuff, I was like, I need him.
Yeah. And then, Keith's trying to make him think, about what really happened if he truly doesn't believe Jimmy killed him.
Okay, so did he come back to rehash all Lucas's past of being there for people, or was his job there for Lucas to remember what happened that day?
Yeah, that's what I thought of when I first watched this episode. It seemed like it was like just a lesson for Lucas to learn, like in the movie, It's a Wonderful Life, like that people wouldn't be better off without him, that he's, needed. He makes a difference. He does
Right,
good
like
in
he
these
needs to
people's
wake
lives.
up because he's
Yeah.
dying. That's what I thought too. Because I'm like, we're sitting here talking about Brooke and Haley and Nathan and all these and Peyton and all these people of all the things he's done right. And it's like, great, this is what it's gonna be. And then here we are. And it's like now we're talking about what happened that day. It's like, what does Lucas have to do with this? I'm like, now we're shifting to you need to know what happened.
Yeah, because like they should have just had Lucas like just ask Keith himself like what happened that day, and then Keith would have been like, well, Jimmy didn't kill me, and then they could have just took it from there, and then because Lucas be like, what do you mean Jimmy didn't kill you? Then he would actually want to know what's going on,
Yeah, mystery for him to a question that he has to now answer.
Yeah, and then that make him want to wake up more to figure it out, what really happened,
But it was just weird because again, it was like a lesson, but it wasn't a lesson then. It's weird.
Yeah, because I know Keith wouldn't be his only mission to see Lucas like this. So
that's what I just thought was weird because I'm like, now we're taking it to this part.
Yeah, because he would rather Lucas wake up and live the rest of his life than, have his murder be solved. So, he'd rather do what's best for Lucas.
Yeah, and like keep telling him you're a good person. You mean the world to people. You need to wake up.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what it was. And then Lucas is supposed to wake up because people need him. Not for him to wake up because he needs to know the truth.
Right.
That's weird. Also, can that really happen?
What? Like you come.
I get the whole somebody trying to like help you understand you mean something to people, but not there's a mystery or there, that you need to solve. Like, I don't know, like when you're getting to the end of life, I can't really imagine them being like somebody who died being like, now you need to solve my death. It's like, huh?
Right. Yeah. Because
Like I could, like again, I could see the first part of like, the lessons, like you're a good person, but not this part.
Right. Yeah, because I actually do have a family member myself who was murdered and they never caught the person. So so I can't imagine going through the same thing if I was in an accident like Lucas or whatever, being like that. So
But could you imagine it actually happening?
no.
Of
At least
like
not
somebody coming back and saying,
Mhm.
keep remembering.
Mhm.
Like you're supposed to do that on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a little more sense with Lucas because he was so close to Keith, whereas I wasn't close to this person who was murdered. So I wouldn't like my subconscious wouldn't think of this person if, I'm almost on my way out myself. But yeah, I don't know. I just still the way that they wrote it like this with and then kind of re-traumatizing Lucas with showing the bodies too. I didn't like that part. Um, like I said, if they just had like Lucas be curious on his own alone about what happened to Keith that day, then that would have made more sense than this. So
Right, because Lucas, it's not in his mind. He thinks Jimmy did it. So that's the end of
Mhm.
it. So that's why it doesn't make sense because when he wakes up, then he's gonna want to solve the mystery. And it's like, no, because that shouldn't
Mhm.
be a mystery you should know about
Right.
unless you came up with it on your own.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just feel like somebody who passed away wouldn't come back and do this.
hmm Yeah. So maybe if they kind of planted it better, like if Abby, I think her name is,
Mm-hmm.
that was the witness somehow to this. But if she like, because and then she disappears. She never comes back until she's supposed to be like part of this plot line. So it's like she kind of left school too after the shooting. But yeah, if she like came back and Lucas bumped into her and he knew that she was in the tutor room because of Nathan or Haley, whatever, whoever told him, anybody could have told him. But and she would have because I also want to know how she knew that that was even Lucas's uncle if she didn't really know Lucas. But anyways, but she probably knows Dan because everybody kind of knows Dan's Lucas's dad. But maybe if she would have been like, I'm sorry to hear about your uncle, but like if you think Jimmy did it, then you're wrong. But then of course we know she was scared to say anything to anybody. But you know what I mean?
Well, and two, maybe, off camera, like Lucas or like Haley, maybe told him about her being diabetic and how she left early. Like Jimmy let
Yeah.
her out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe then he could have been like, how are you doing? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
of like, I don't know, just like some way of like putting her in the middle of it. Yeah. Cause otherwise this doesn't make sense. That you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
wake up and then be like, yes, I gotta finish what happened. And it's like, huh?
Yeah. And
And
then if
because it wasn't your idea. It was
mm-hmm.
someone who's not here.
Yeah, and then too, like if he would have known about Abby being let go, then he would have thought if Jimmy let Abby go, why did he go and kill Jimmy?
That was my thing, was like Haley and Nathan and Mouth and Skills, his friends,
Mm-hmm.
never once said Jimmy let Abby go.
Yeah, because we know that shooters don't do that. They wouldn't
No,
show mercy to
no,
one person but not the other. So
no. And so that's my thing is, and the fact that each and every one of them believe that. Like, okay, Mouth,
right.
remember when he was on the Jimmy train, right? Like, Jimmy's great. We love him. We miss him. More like you miss him. But it's like that day or that episode,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been a perfect thing for Mouth to say, Lucas, I don't believe Jimmy did it, and this is why. Because
Mm-hmm.
he let Abby go.
Yeah.
And then Lucas would have been like, don't say that. And then maybe after like yelling at mouth, he could have been like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. And then it would have been his idea. But for him to just this may be his idea all of a sudden out of nowhere makes no sense. Because so basically, if this didn't happen, him almost dying because of his heart, if that didn't happen, then he wouldn't have solved the mystery. Again, it could have been very easy as mouth telling him exactly why he believes Jimmy's innocent.
Right. Yeah, so there are just too many gap holes for this, for them to do it like this. So, like I said, it just seems like it's too far down the line that now, this would be kind of brought up.
Yeah, because that was last year.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because Dan was in jail, so maybe the writers were like, well, let's just have Dan, like, think he's going to be, or like, I don't know, maybe Dan, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I don't know.
Me either, because I do believe that Dan took the fall for this because he feels guilty. Like if I can go to jail for prison for something, I guess I'll take the fall for Daunte. Not Keith. But it's like I do think he feels guilty, so it's like, okay, I should go. But and also, oh my God, also he wants to protect Nathan. But so that makes sense. Like he feels he should go to jail.
Yeah, maybe he thinks that this is a way he can like get his well, no, like get his consequences for what he done, but for somebody else that was murdered, like so, he can get his consequences without people knowing what he actually did, so he doesn't face the full consequences and lose everybody.
I guess so.
So like he thinks he's like compromising, like getting his own way, without getting in real trouble for what he actually did.
So I'll go to prison for someone else.
Yeah, and like people might think like, oh, he was trying to protect his daughter-in-law or something like that, and they might feel bad for him. But if they found out he just killed his brother in cold hard blood, yeah, then they wouldn't see like it was for a reason or anything. So it wasn't protection at all. It was just opposite. So.
Oh, how long can you be a like? How long is the mayor? What you call it? Term. Like, how long can you be a mayor for? Like one term.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because he's a mayor and he just became a mayor this year. So I'm just trying to figure out, because season 3 and 4 are the same year. I'm just trying to figure out if your mayor goes to prison. I don't think he's the mayor anymore. I feel like his rights are taken.
Right.
Oh, and 2, don't you think that if he gets arrested like this, right? That he would no longer be the mayor?
Yeah, you think he would, but like automatically, but I guess not.
Because he was caught red-handed. I mean, obviously as soon as they do the DNA from Daunte and Dan, it doesn't match up. But it just doesn't make any sense because I'm like, I feel like if you're caught like that, they would be like, no, like you're not trustworthy to be the mayor.
Yeah, so I'm looking up. Depends on the states, but usually they are mayor for 4 years and they can be reelected, but there could be limits on that or could not be limits on it. So
But he didn't even make it a year.
Yeah. So yeah, automatically he should be no longer mayor, but we know that that's not the case in this country. When you're doing criminal things, you can still be in the office, but yeah, so I don't know. But of course, this is One Tree Hill. Dan seems to always get his way for the most part. So
yeah, I just thought of it.
And then we see Peyton sitting under that bridge that Ellie was talking about before. So I guess this is the first time she's been there since her mom Anna died. And then of course, like before, Brooke is there and sits next to her, and they have that conversation, about them being there all those years ago. And then she mentions to Brooke how Ellie used to watch them down there. And I'm kind of surprised Brooke wasn't like, so she was also kind of stalking you too?
And
Like
me,
her
because she saw there was another girl with you.
Yeah.
Too. So here's the thing about Brooke. It's very
Mhm.
odd. She goes on about how she hate, she's on this team hate Peyton thing, but then it's like here in this episode, she's there for Peyton.
Mhm.
Like you would think that after this they would be friends.
Right.
But that's obviously not the case. And here, even Peyton's like, because again, Brooke being very nice, like Peyton's like, oh, cool, like she's somewhat coming back to me, right, as my friend.
Mhm.
Like she's sort of getting over everything, right? Well,
Mhm.
Peyton's like, I miss you. Can we be friends? And Brooke's like, sure. And then she goes, not like before. And it's like,
Right. Yeah.
okay. Like, Brooke, you're giving her that hope, though,
Yeah.
by being there for her every time.
Mhm.
Because you could just leave her alone, but you're
Yeah.
not leaving her alone.
Yeah.
And that's what's weird. Like, it's one thing to tell her, like, Lucas and Haley are in the hospital.
Mhm.
But then that was it.
Yeah.
Why does Brooke keep checking on her?
Right.
That's my thing is, Brooke, you're making Peyton feel like you two could be like you used to be.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm not liking that
Mhm.
because it just makes you like feel like for Peyton to be like, I guess I'm stupid or something, like to think where we could be something.
Right.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Neither do I. And then Keith and Lucas are also on the bridge watching them from, as at below. And Lucas asks about the other Brooke. Why was she so angry? And Keith says he happened to her. And Lucas asks, what does he mean? And then they end up at the cemetery with the other Brooke. And Lucas
Oh,
asks,
about this scene about them in the underneath the bridge. Think
Mhm.
about it if Peyton was there alone or whatever, Lucas went up to under the bridge, Peyton be like, how'd you know I was here? Like present day sort of thing.
Mhm.
It'd be kind of funny because it's like he's not supposed to know that
Mhm.
this is their thing,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and that this
Mhm.
is where they always go. Because then it'd be like he'd have to explain how he knows this. Remember, like when Mouth went off about him wasn't
Marion
marrying
Brooke.
Brooke,
Mhm.
and then it's like, huh?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's like he'd probably slip.
Right.
I feel like Lucas would.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so they're at the cemetery. Brooke's at the grave, and Lucas asks, whose grave it is. And, Keith explains that he never went back into that school that day in this universe. So, um, Payne died, and Brooke never forgave herself for leaving her behind. So the next time he thinks, that being the best version of himself doesn't matter, he should look into Payne's eyes. And every time he does, he knows that it has and it does.
Do you think Brooke would really go this dark?
Um, I don't know. She could go anywhere. At least the Brooke that we know in the usual universe, she could probably get herself lost in partying and boys, But goth wise, like this, I don't know. Maybe like this Brooke's kind of like Peyton was kind of like this. So maybe if I kind of dress and act like this, maybe this can kind of have me be closer to her somehow, in the darkness that she had. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm just like the Brooke we know would be like drinking and stuff,
Mhm.
like that kind of thing, not the other way.
Yeah. And then Nathan goes to visit Dan in prison, telling Dan he shouldn't be in there. And Dan says it is what it is. And Nathan says he knows what he did, and tells Dan he doesn't deserve this. He's going to turn himself in, and
That
then
was
tell him,
funny when Nathan's like, "You don't belong here." I'm like, he goes, "You didn't kill anyone," and I'm like,
yeah,
Nathan, little do you know, in what a few short episodes, you'll
hmm
find out.
well, actually, doesn't he find out later when they're adults?
No, he finds out sometime point in season 4 because like Lucas eventually tells everybody or something, and then Nathan goes to him and is like, "You didn't do it, did you?" And he's kind of gotta go like, and he doesn't say anything. And then Nathan's like, that's when Nathan says, "My son will never know you."
Oh,
Yeah, and it's all in season 4.
maybe I'm thinking of something else. I don't know.
It's probably when he goes to his release date.
Well, I thought this was like later in season 6 or something.
Well, in season 5 is when Lucas and Nathan go to his release thing of when they're releasing him, like the little trial thing, whatever it's called. And then they find out he's gonna get out. But he also visits them in prison. Nathan does. Because he has the long hair. But no, he finds out this season that that Dan killed him.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll have to see when we get to those episodes. Like you said, season 5. And then Dan asks about Haley. And then, Nathan says she's out of surgery. And then Dan asks about the baby. And he says they don't know yet, but tells Dan it's a boy. And then Dan tells, Nathan to go be with his wife. He'll be fine. And Nathan tells Dan he loves him. And instead of saying it back, Dan, hangs up the phone and calls the guard. And then Keith takes Lucas to what used to be his shop. And Keith says, no place like home. He misses it. And Lucas says, the place was good to them. So, doesn't Dan still own this shop? Or did he sell it?
I thought so, but we've never seen it since
he bought it.
He bought it and tried to get revenge over Keith. Yeah, ever since then, it's never been talked about or anything.
Yeah.
But we've also, ever since the fire, really, we've never really seen Dan in the dealership either.
No. Well, didn't it burn down? And then Dan just gave it up? He didn't rebuild or anything?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. Because ever since the election, he's been in the mayor office.
Yeah, I think he just traded business for politics because he just wants the power, of course.
Yeah, so I don't know. We just never seen the dealership since then. So
yeah, I just thought it was funny how well, not funny, but just interesting how Keith and Lucas were able to walk in there as if it was still Keith's, or somebody had it the way Keith did when he owned it. Yeah, because this had it been like some part of the afterlife, or unless it was the alternate universe shop where Keith still owned it. Maybe that's what it was. But then Payne's car was there. Her sketchbook was in there, like the first time they met that day. So I think it was just the afterlife kind of place. So maybe it wasn't supposed to make sense of how it looked like that, but yeah.
Well, and two, you have to, and then two, about I would still think Dan would still own the body shop because that wasn't connected to the dealership. So it didn't catch on fire.
Right. Yeah. They were.
So I would still think he could still own it and have it still running.
Right.
Because people would still need their cars fixed and oil changes and stuff, which would be the body shop. So I don't see why Dan would give that up.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, they could have easily showed something with Dan, like when I like Keith's gone, like what am I gonna do with the shop? Should I just sell it or keep it running? Like, because there's nothing for him to. There's no point of him getting back at Keith when he's not alive anymore. So, no need to hold on to the business.
Right. Yeah.
And then they talk about Peyton and how Lucas liked her instantly when he went to go look at her car. And how she scared both of them when she, snapped at them or Lucas looking at her scrapbook or sketches. And, he reminded Lucas that he told Payne that her art mattered and she needed that.
And he said that, you didn't have to send her sketches to Thud, but you did.
Yeah. And because of that, Payne's a better person. He made a difference in her life. I mean,
she's a better person because of the Thud magazine.
I mean, if it didn't last very long, but
she was still mean then. What's he talking about?
Maybe like she became more confident in her art. That's the only thing I can really see, but yeah.
I think she became a better person when she realized Nathan was a jerk.
Right. Yeah.
Like, think about it. She had kind of an evil best friend, Brooke, and she had a horrible boyfriend, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
And once you realized that, then she was nice
Right.
and like down to earth. And we finally saw that. But it took a lot because she was still, trying to be something, I think. Wasn't showing her true self.
Yeah. And then Peyton is with Lucas in the hospital room, telling him he's always saving her, so to let her save him. And she puts earbuds in his ears and plays music for him. Because, that's the only way she can really reach him right now. And then Nathan is with Haley in her room, and he mentions how she's always saying and she's not going anywhere. He needs to, hold her to that right now. And then, the sad part here, like he tells her to move her finger if she can hear him, but she doesn't.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. And then Dan's in a cell when Keith shows up. Now the adult version of Keith for
This
the
is
first
good.
time.
Again, this is what I wanted. Remember, I've been saying that. I don't like the kid version. I'm getting tired of it. I want the adult version.
Yeah, I guess just because they couldn't have Craig come back then, maybe that's why they, used the children or child version of him. But yeah.
Because think about it, like the the adult version of Keith haunting him, I feel like is more powerful because this is the version you didn't like was this Keith. The kid version you liked. So bringing the kid version back didn't really make sense because you liked that one. But this one you didn't like, and you killed this one. So I feel like this is the one you need to come back to haunt you, and he's pretty good at it.
Yeah, and him coming back when he's in prison now makes sense too.
Well, and two, isn't it weird from like Keith going to like be with Lucas and all of this of how like nobody can see us, blah blah blah, to Dan can see me and Dan's not dead. I'm like,
yeah,
huh? And he's alone. He's not with Lucas. So I'm like, so that means Keith had two different storylines going on.
Yeah, I think that's just a whole different version of Keith that's haunting only Dan, and like the Keith that is with Lucas is
But
his
it's
own.
weird in the same.
Yeah.
But it's weird in the same
Right.
episode.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see like next episode Dan's still in prison, so so then Keith haunts him, but not the same one that he's going on this journey with Lucas.
Yeah, I guess they could only get Craig back, for this one episode, so they just kind of had to use what they had.
Yeah, but he comes back later.
Oh yeah, isn't it? How soon is it? Not next episode, I don't think.
Well, there's that one where he sees Karen and Lily, and he tells Karen to go be with her.
Oh, isn't that when they graduate? So yeah, it's
it's when she has Lily.
Right.
Remember, because she has emergency C-section, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And so
and that's the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a finale. So one before it. But yeah, yeah, so he comes back. But yeah, I think I just thought it was too much of like which one's supposed to be the one we don't know. Like we can't see.
Right, yeah.
But
yeah, maybe
they could have.
Yeah, maybe they could have, because he was wearing the same clothes for both versions, right? When he was with Lucas and Dan.
Maybe that's what threw me off too. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe they could have had him dressed differently depending on who he was with to
He
decide.
did when he did that scary version of him.
Yeah, that was a jump scare. Even again watching it for this,
I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I actually forgot that happened. I thought they just kind of talked and he just like taunted him,
came out of nowhere on the other side.
Yeah, because this isn't really a horror show like that, but for this moment it was.
Well, and that's the thing is like this episode is supposed to be sad because Lucas and Haley, are in the hospital. We don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden we get a jump scare.
Yeah.
Okay, it was supposed to be a sad episode.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it's December when this aired, and then March in the show, so not anywhere near Halloween. Yeah, it was funny when he said the kid version of you, or it's just annoying.
I thought it was too.
It's about time, like you showed up like the adult version of you. And then, Keith, like I said, taunts him about being guilty every day of his life, and it's not going to go away. They're just going to get worse. And that's again confusing about if there's two different Keiths, because it's like he's acting like it's the same Keith because he knows he's trying to get Lucas to remember what really happened to him. So he's like, Dan's getting in trouble now for real. So telling him like it's gonna get worse for you in that way, you know?
Yeah, that's why it was confusing and I didn't really get it.
Hmm.
It was like hard to sit there and try to understand.
Right. Yeah, and then Dan was, explaining that he's just trying to make things right with Nathan, protecting him about killing Daunte, and Keith asks if he's sure about that, and Dan says,
I
he was
thought it
there.
was I thought it was funny when he was like, you've been seeing a lot of things lately.
Yeah.
The painted walls and the
Mhm.
strange emails, dead brothers. It was funny. He kept going
Mhm.
on. But then
Yeah.
he brought up a time that their parents went out and left him home alone, and he cut his hand. And then Dad beat the crap out of Key. Because he was supposed to watch him. Like,
Mhm.
he remembers that, so he's just trying to like bring up all these things. And he said, all the time that you got Karen pregnant and you abandoned her. And then Dan
Mhm.
just keeps getting more and more upset. It's hilarious. And then he goes, or the time you murdered me.
Mhm.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
my god. It was just
Mhm.
getting worse.
Mhm. And then he makes it worse, at least for Dan, because he tells him he forgives him.
Oh, and yeah, and then the blood starts pouring out of his chest.
Mhm.
And the whole
Yeah.
time, I forgive you. And it's like more and more. Oh,
Mhm. And then the pop-up happens. Yeah.
yep.
And then there's a good transition between Dan running to George, to Dan running to George running. That's shown on the TV in Haley's room when Peyton walks in. Now this part surprised me too, because with the whole Peyton and Brooke back and forth, telling Lucas and Nathan like you need to wake up for
You mean Haley?
Lucas and what did I say?
You said Lucas and Nathan waking up.
Oh yeah, Haley. Telling them to wake up, because Nathan and Payne need them. And again, it's like showing again, Brooke still cares about Payne because she's telling Lucas you need to wake up to be there for her,
Yeah.
even though she can be there for her and she kind of is,
Well,
but kind of give
and
mixed
then she said,
feelings
and
on it.
then she went a step further and said, like you guys are good, or you're good for her or something. And I'm like, huh?
Right.
Like what, Brooke? What are you? If you truly believed this, you would
Hmm.
not be in a fight with her.
Right.
Time and time again, when Lucas would come up in your relationship, whatever. Like if you truly believed that he was right for her. It's like
Hmm.
an eye roll. I'm like, and again, it's making the audience and Peyton believe like you two could be friends.
Right.
And then Brooks pulling the rug out again.
Hmm.
I like it.
Yeah. Wait, did I say Payne told Lucas or told Haley to be there for Payton? I forgot what I said. But she was telling Haley that she needs her to take care of Brooke. And then Brooke tells Lucas the same because or maybe she. Oh, I was getting
No,
Brooke and
Peyton.
Peyton mixed.
Peyton.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Peyton
Yeah,
talks
okay.
to Haley and
Yep.
Brooke talks to Lucas.
Right. So they're talking about each other, like, you need to take care of Payne, you need to take care of Brooke. Okay, that's why I got mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny how Payne told Haley that they can't leave Brooke with Rachel.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And then they're just talking to each other more. And then they both, Payne and Brooke, tell Haley and Lucas to not tell them that they had this conversation. Always keeping it secret that they actually still care about each other. And then Nathan is in the chapel still, or no, not still. He is for the first time thinking about the bridge incident, remembering hearing Keith tell him it's okay and to breathe, and then seeing him under the water in the bright light. And then
And then
he's praying, praying to God.
he says, Haley doesn't deserve, this and everything. And he did a horrible thing, all that. She's a good person. She'll be a good mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he mentioned how he saved him from the bridge, but Haley saved him along, before that. And there has to be a miracle left for her.
Yeah. Then he said, please don't take her from me. And don't take our child from her. I'm like, well, and from you, but okay.
Yeah. maybe he's just like thinking he doesn't really deserve to be a dad after what he did to Daunte. But
well, he would still be.
yeah. And then Keith actually tells him the ghost version here that's gonna be okay and to breathe. And then Peyton walks in to let him know that Haley's awake. So of course he goes into her room and greets her. But then we see Keith and Lucas going to Keith's grave in the cemetery. And Keith jokes, about what a guy's got to do to get some flowers every now and then. And Lucas says, he's sorry his mom wanted to be there, but it's too hard for her.
So why can't Lucas go and get some flowers and put them there?
That's what Keith asks, And Lucas says he figured it was a waste of time because he says to Keith that he didn't believe Nathan when he said that he saved him because he didn't want to believe in him. When he died, he didn't want to believe in the idea of him. Yeah, so that's what I was wondering, were they hinting that Lucas was kind of like an atheist, so he didn't believe, somebody can come back and, show up in your dreams or in a dire situation or what, but
it was weird. I'm like, just buy him some flowers.
Yeah. And that's when Keith says that he didn't show up to make him believe in him. He's there to make him believe in himself, which is kind of true, but then with this murder thing, kind of almost cancels that out like we were talking about before.
Well, and I think too, because they keep going back and forth with the lessons and the murder and all this. Yeah. I'm like, just make one or the other, or have just all the lessons and then go to the murder, and not back and forth.
Right. Yeah. So then he tells Lucas, he has a lot of good things in his life, family, friends, love, and those things are worth believing in. And then they get into that deep question again about if there's such thing as a heaven. And because, he's asking Keith, like, he might want to go with him. And Keith tells Lucas that's up to him if he wants to. The future's unwritten. But if he goes back, there are going to be tough times, of course, but there'll be good times as well. Because it's true, that's life, And then Lucas spots someone asking Keith who was the woman at Payne's grave because she's an older woman.
Then he said, someone who used to know her. And then he said, but it's not Payne's grave. Nope, it's Lucas's grave.
Yep. And Keith, tells Lucas, it's his if he chooses.
Yeah. And then he said, the woman is Peyton. She lived a good life, but she never let him go. Which I honestly could see Peyton doing that.
Yeah. Maybe if Jake came back to town, maybe then she wouldn't, but...
No, I still feel like she would. No, she probably ended up marrying Jake in this version.
Yeah.
But she just always came back to Lucas's grave.
Yeah, that would have been something.
I could see that. And I think Jake would understand.
Yeah. Yeah, so now Lucas says he has to go back, and Keith asks if he's sure, and Lucas says he never told Payne he loves her, so he wants to go back, and Keith
I
smiles
like that part, because I'm like,
okay.
yeah, you need to go back, and you didn't say that.
Yeah. So at least that was Lucas's reason, not, just only being I have to figure out who killed Keith kind of thing,
Yeah. Even though it's like forced on us that we need to figure this out.
Yeah. And, they're in the shop again. And then, he tells Lucas, they'll see Keith, Lucas did it. And Keith asks him, tells him he's with them every day and that they'll see each other again. He tells Lucas to believe that. And then they're in the shop again. And then this is the weird part because he takes, I get because it's supposed to just transition from jumper cables to, what's it called? I think I wrote that on here. The defibrillator.
The defibrillator,
yeah. Like that was the thing, but I think it was so weird to see Keith shock Lucas like that with the jumper cables like that.
Yeah, because it's gonna hurt. That's funny.
Yeah.
Then we get a heartbeat.
And he's still on the street, so he never went to the hospital and supposedly never saw any of that, of course, except for the one part about Keith's death.
No, and then this is weird because like it's weird at the end how, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, and then Keith was there too also when Lucas regained consciousness, and he, like everybody else, he tells him to breathe and it's okay, and then walks off. And then that's the last we see of him until toward the end of the season.
Yeah,
and then
they check on the baby for Nathan and Haley, and they got a heartbeat.
Yep. Yeah, when I first saw this, I was wondering because it kind of like led so long without giving us the answer. So I thought, the baby wasn't going to still be alive, but sure enough, we heard the heartbeat. So yeah, Haley's really lucky that the baby, because, Jamie could have had anything wrong with him, but he was perfectly fine after he was born. So,
And it was big too.
Yep.
But yeah, because I feel like in most cases, the mom would be dead. Or,
Yeah. Or
well,
the
the mom
baby.
and the baby would be
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Like, who gets hit like that and doesn't die, or the baby doesn't die?
Right.
Yeah.
And then Lucas is still unconscious while, still stuck in his mind, and is still on that empty street again. And we see flashes of him and Keith together, and like in the in between when we see them at the school talking about Jimmy killing Keith, Lucas still can't believe he
So
did
they
that.
keep, so this is what's weird is like the whole time it's like flash, flash, flash all the time. I was like, remember you said you don't believe, that or that Jimmy did it and all this, and I'm like, oh my, and then like, what do you see? What do you see? Open your eyes, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. All for him to open his eyes, but I'm just like,
Right.
oh God, this is like, that's what I didn't like. I'm like, too much of like something happened. You need to figure this out.
And then too, before he woke up, we see that Lucas looked like he did see something, but we don't, of course, see what it was until later on. But it's like he like cracked the case, like there was, a witness there. So, yeah.
So I will say it was weird, for a show, especially back then, to have this be their winner, finale, and not have anything be a cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
Because think of shows, especially shows that were airing back then. They normally had cliffhangers for their winter finale too, because you want people to wait a couple months, to see what happened. I mean, Grey's Anatomy still does that today.
Yeah.
They have cliffhangers. So I'm just surprised that like they didn't, because think about it. Your questions would have been, is Nathan and Haley okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the baby okay? Yeah. I mean, we're, Brooke and Peyton are talking. It's like these questions that we would have had, like we actually have questions to, were all answered.
Yeah.
They could have been like, maybe a cliffhanger could have been like them checking for heartbeat and Nathan and Haley like looking at each other like, like,
yeah,
what's going on? And then we don't know until the next episode in January, and that's baby's fine. Like, it's just like, I'm surprised they didn't just wait for something of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised at that. Like, we got all of our answers. Isn't that odd?
Yeah, the only thing we know is that, Lucas knows that Jimmy didn't kill, Keith. Oh no. What is he gonna do? We'll have to wait until next month. Okay.
I know, but it's like, but the whole thing is he knows.
Yeah.
It's like, again, okay. But what? Who's gonna really sit there and go, I gotta wait for the answer? Lucas knows.
Yeah, because the last cliffhanger for Grey's Anatomy is part of the building blew up and we don't know who survived and who didn't. So that's the cliffhanger.
Yeah, and I saw that there was a clip. I think it was for Paramount. I don't want to be wrong, but I want to say it was. There's so many different
Streaming
that you can't keep up anymore whenever you see an ad for something. But there was one, and it was Sophia Bush, Chris Carmack, is that his name? Who's in Grey's Anatomy. And I know that,
yeah, that movie, yeah.
So there's that movie, and I'm like, and so people, so went to the comments that,
oh yeah, they're thinking he died then on Grey's.
I always like to go to the comments because Sophia's in Grey's Anatomy too. So I like to go to the comments and read it, and people are like, "Don't tell me that means Link died," and I'm like,
for one movie.
For one movie, everyone's like going all ballistic that Link died because he's in this movie. I'm like, first of all, they filmed this
last year at least.
A long time ago, people. Like, don't get carried away because you saw one movie or something with these two in it.
Yeah.
Because, okay, do you remember that? I don't know if you ever saw the movie with like that Sarah Drew did, and it was her and Justin, the one that played Matthew.
Yeah.
And then Ben was in it from Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, oh, it's like a Grey's Anatomy reunion with them in it. But I'm like, again, Ben is still on Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
But obviously it was when it premiered like that October or something after she was gone. And so that was kind of weird. But then I also had to tell myself they filmed this a long time ago, like before she probably knew she was off of Grey's.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, like how weird is it that, she's off and then this movie, but I'm like, remember she filmed it probably before she knew she was off.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and then you have to remember too, those two did their scenes of them getting married and stuff after they had filmed the movie then. Which is weird because they were husband and wife in the movie. So yeah, it was just weird, but I just thought it was funny because everyone's like, Sophia's in it and he's in it. Link better be okay. But then, so I literally thought of that because like they're both in Grey's. I didn't know about the explosion or whatever. But instantly I was like, oh, they're both in Grey's Anatomy together. But then my second thing was, oh, they were in competing shows back in the early 2000s. One being on One Tree Hill, one being in the OC.
Yeah, that's funny.
So I also thought that was funny.
Yeah, I actually didn't like that cliffhanger for Grey's Anatomy because that just happened too not that long ago, maybe a couple seasons ago, where I think the same part of the building blew up for some reason. I forgot what that was about too. But yeah, I was like, this again? We already had an explosion not that long ago, but yeah. But there's a lot of people up there that we know, so who knows who survived.
Is Teddy one of them?
I don't know. I really can't remember. I think it was like 3 people. I really can't remember. I think it I really can't remember. I forget things very quickly. I just remember Lincoln was up there because I was like thinking like she just lost Alex. I'm like, is she gonna lose another husband? But death this time.
Well, I mean,
your third husband too, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Grey's Anatomy seems to do that.
Yeah.
They're just like, you're off. The thing is, what people have to look into is his contract.
Yeah.
What does his contract say? That's what you gotta look at. Then you'll know he's good or he isn't.
Right.
He's in the chopping blocks. Yeah. I just don't like Teddy in the show.
Oh, I think was Amelia up there? Anyways, yeah, I'm just trying to remember, but
well, if they're both up there, what's gonna happen with their kid?
I don't
know. Merritt's gonna have to raise her kid. I can't see Amelia going though.
Right. Well, I don't know. I really can't remember. I forget things so easily. I watched so many shows too, but she was also in a almost explosion kind of incident too, with some kind of gas tank in the operating room. So
interesting.
Yeah. So that's what it was.
What?
I just remembered. That's what it was. That exploded was a gas tank. It didn't blow up in the episode before, and then the next episode, because it was about a mother who wanted her daughter to get fixed and was telling Amelia like, you better fix my daughter, or like everybody's getting blown up basically. And then she said the tank was empty, and she got the tank from her husband. And Amelia was like, well, the tank was empty, so no harm was done. And he's like, I never have empty tanks. And then that's when it went off. So that's what happened. Just remembered. But yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So for this, okay, I didn't really like the episode. That's my low. My high was, like I said, the little jokes between Lucas and Keith. Because that's about it.
Yeah.
Because the rest, I didn't like it. What about you?
Yeah, barely anything, but just even though I knew the answer, that the baby was okay after all that.
What would you rate it?
Oh,
Oh,
about
no.
the bad.
Oh yeah, what's your bad? Hold that rest of it.
I guess just the way that Lucas, like we were saying, Lucas going back and forth between his life lesson and what really happened to Keith. Like they could have written that to be more smoothly, like I said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then rating.
I'd rate this a 6. I'm being very generous.
Yeah,
Well,
I
think
would
about
too.
it. You know how many some episodes of some shows I have rated low? You're pretty lucky that you get a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I would give it a 7 myself.
And I feel like that's low for you.
Yeah.
You normally don't go lower than 7s.
Right.
Best and worst. Mm.
Yeah, this was hard.
Hmm. What's yours?
My best was Keith because he was just
Came
there,
back?
yeah, guiding Lucas, not in the best way, but still there. And then the worst, even though technically he's already gone, is Daunte because he started all this mess with everybody, with Haley being in the hospital, baby being in danger, Lucas being in danger, like domino effect right there. So yeah. Oh, and then Dan going to jail, even though I didn't care about that. He does belong there, but
So for me, for me, the best was Keith, but you're not gonna like the worst. Brooke.
no.
Because
I
yeah,
get it.
she was there for Peyton, but she was also, again, like I said, she was like pulling the rug from Peyton. Of like showing her we can be friends, like dingling a little care, and then boom, it's gone. It's like, oh my God. Like either be her friend or don't be her friend.
Right.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And she was just doing too much to act like she's gonna be her friend, but then she's not gonna be her friend. I don't like the back and forth. Again, either don't be, but make up your mind.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. And even Peyton finally, Peyton normally doesn't come out with things. So when she actually came out with it of like, can we be friends? Brooke's like, sure, but not really. It's like,
yeah.
Huh? Because again, Peyton's never that honest. And she's really hurting and needs a friend. And Brooke's like, nah.
Right.
So that's what I mean, is like, you can't do that crap. And then to tell Lucas, like, you're good for her.
Right.
Huh? Again, what? So no, I didn't like what she was doing in this episode because again, next episode, she's gonna hate Lucas and Peyton. So stop
even though she
this.
was, even though she was okay with it at the state championship when she told Lucas to go.
Right. And she, and she heard all what Peyton said. It's like, you keep hearing, like, you would think you would be okay with it by now. You keep saying it, but she's not. So that's what I mean by I don't like it because I know it's going to happen too. And I just didn't like the whole thing in the episode of like, she's there, but then I don't really want to be your friend.
Right.
Go away. Show her how life's going to be without you by you not being there for her.
Right.
Like, stop it. And then maybe she'll have some scenes with Karen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't like that how behavior that Brooke had. I know that she was there for Peyton in the episode, but also I just didn't like the whole kind of stabbing in the back kind of thing of that. And I still like it. So that's why she's the worst for me. Because everybody else is just kind of, they weren't really doing much because it was a weird episode.
Right.
And Dan is kind of getting what he deserves in prison right now by getting Keith coming back to him. And then what's the next episode?
Episode 11, everything in its place. Oh, in its right place. Yep.
Interesting. All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.